You're born in ancient Rome, 126 AD, into a life that isn't your own. You draw your first breath not in the arms of a loving family, but on a coarse wool blanket in the servants' quarters of a sprawling villa. Congratulations, you're born into servitude, a piece of property from your very first cry. The world outside is one of marble columns and bustling forums, but your world is a collection of stone walls and the constant, quiet hum of labor. Your mother is a wet nurse, a valuable asset in the master's household. She spends her days and nights soothing the infants of Roman nobility, her milk reserved for the children of others, while you are passed to the care of older, wearier slaves. You learn her face from fleeting glances in the courtyard, her touch a rare and hurried comfort before she is summoned back to the nursery. Your upbringing is a communal effort born of necessity, not choice. The other servants raise you as best they can, teaching you to be quiet, to be useful, and most importantly, to be invisible. From your earliest memories, you learn that status decides everything. The household is a rigid pyramid, and you are near the bottom. At the apex are the dominus and domina, the master and mistress, whose whims dictate your entire existence. Below them are the freedmen who manage the estate, then the skilled artisans, the scribes, and the cooks. You are part of the general labor pool, a child whose only value is what you might one day become. You watch as the master's children receive lessons in rhetoric and philosophy, their laughter echoing through halls you are only permitted to clean. You, meanwhile, learn a different curriculum: the hierarchy of the home, the art of silent obedience, and the sharp sting of a steward's disapproval. Your lessons are taught not with a stylus and wax tablet, but with a sharp word or a heavy sigh. As you grow, your life becomes a series of evaluations. Overseers, often older slaves who have earned a measure of trust, begin to track your development. They are preparing you for a life of household duties, much like the one your mother leads. A stern woman with calloused hands checks your teeth, assesses your strength, and watches how you handle simple tasks like mending cloth or carrying water. Every observation is a silent judgment, a calculation of your future utility. There is no talk of dreams or desires, only of duties and roles. The message is unspoken but clear. You are being shaped, not for a life of your own, but for a specific function within the machinery of the Roman elite. You are a cog being polished for its designated place. By the time you are in your early teens, your path is no longer a possibility. It is a certainty. The training intensifies. You are assigned to the nursery, learning the rhythms of an infant's needs. You learn how to mix honeyed water, how to swaddle a baby tightly, how to recognize the subtle differences between a cry of hunger and a cry of discomfort. Your hands, once clumsy, become practiced and gentle. Your life, once a blur of communal chores, now has a singular focus. You are being groomed to serve the next generation of Rome's ruling families, just as your mother did before you. The future is a straight, narrow road stretching out before you, paved with the expectations of others. It's in the quiet moments between duties that you meet Marcus. He's a few years older, tasked with tending the gardens and running errands in the city. You see him in the courtyard, his hands perpetually stained with soil, his face often set in a look of quiet concentration. Your interactions are brief, a shared piece of bread, a nod of acknowledgement as you pass. But in a world where you are defined by your function, these small, human connections feel like a rebellion. You form a quiet bond, a silent understanding that passes between you amidst the relentless routine. He tells you stories of the city he sees on his errands, of merchants shouting in the forum, and senators being carried in their litters. For a few stolen minutes, he brings a piece of the outside world into your confined existence. Then the day comes. A new child is born into the master's household, a son and heir. The villa buzzes with a new energy, a mix of celebration and anxiety. While the dominus accepts congratulations from his peers, you are summoned to the main house. The head steward, a man whose face rarely betrays emotion, informs you of your new role. You are assigned to care for the infant full-time. The training is over. This is your life now. Every breath of your day, and most of your nights, revolves around this single fragile responsibility. Your world shrinks to the confines of the nursery. You are the first one to hear the baby's cries in the pre-dawn chill, and the last one to soothe him to sleep under the flickering oil lamp. You learn the specific pitch of his wails, the subtle shift in his breathing as he drifts into slumber. Your life is a cycle of feeding, rocking, and soothing. The scent of milk and clean linen clings to you. You become an extension of the cradle, a living machine dedicated to the comfort and survival of a child who will one day be your master. Meanwhile, in the rare moments of quiet when the baby sleeps, you think of the family you barely see. Your mother, now older, works in the kitchens, her most valuable years behind her. You see your siblings only in passing, their faces becoming less familiar with each passing season. You stand by the nursery window, looking out at the distant hills, and you wonder what freedom might feel like. What would it be to wake up and have the day belong to you? To walk where you please, to speak your own mind, to love without fear? The thought is a dangerous, precious thing, a tiny flame you nurture in the deepest part of your heart. Rome calls this life work. They call it your duty. You call it survival. Your world is small, the nursery, the kitchen, the courtyard. But soon, your skill will draw the attention of Rome's most powerful families. You've become the most sought-after wet nurse in Rome, and you earned it with your body. You nurse child after child, a relentless parade of infants from the city's most powerful families. Each one is a new assignment, a new face to learn, a new body to nourish. You learn to recognize the subtle cues of a consul's son, the demanding cries of a senator's daughter. They are your work, your purpose, your temporary charges. With each assignment, you are transferred, sometimes sold, from one sprawling villa to another, a prized commodity passed between the hands of Rome's elite. You see the inner workings of a dozen households, the private dramas and public ambitions of men who shape the empire. But with every new infant pressed against your chest, you must build a wall inside yourself. The first time you left a child, a piece of you fractured. You mourned for weeks, your arms aching for the weight of the baby you'd raised for 2 years. But there was no room for your grief. The next household, the next infant, was already waiting. So you learned. You taught yourself a brutal form of professional distance. You focus on the task, the latch, the flow of milk, the steady weight gain of the child. You learn to detach, to see the baby not as your own, but as a project. You perfect the art of providing comfort without forming a bond, of offering nourishment without surrendering your heart. It's a necessary survival mechanism, a callus you build over your soul so that you can endure the constant cycle of attachment and forced separation. Years blur into a rhythm of milk and farewells. Your reputation precedes you, a whispered legend among the matrons of the Palatine Hill. They say the children you nurse grow stronger, taller, and healthier than any others. They say your babes speak their first words months ahead of schedule, their minds as well nourished as their bodies. Rumors swirl about the quality of your milk, some calling it a gift from Juno herself. The story of your success becomes a form of currency, traded in the gossiping circles of high society. Families begin to compete, not just to hire you, but to own you. The bidding wars are fierce, the prices astronomical. Your value on the slave market skyrockets until you are worth more than a team of skilled gladiators or a mosaic artisan from Greece. Your body, the one that was once just property, has become a source of immense prestige for whoever holds your contract. You are still a slave. That fact is the unshakable foundation of your existence. You own nothing, you have no rights. Your life is not your own, but within that rigid framework, you have become something else, a high-value asset, Your status shifts dramatically. No longer are you just another face in the domestic slave quarters. The masters who once saw you as a tool now see you as an investment to be protected. You are moved out of the crowded, noisy slave barracks and into private quarters, a small but comfortable room of your own, sometimes even with a window overlooking a quiet garden. The coarse wool tunic of your youth is replaced with softer linen, and you are given better sandals. Your diet is meticulously managed, not for your health, but for the quality of your milk. You are fed the best foods the household has to offer: fresh fish, tender meats, ripe fruits, and creamy cheeses. You are even given your own servants, lesser slaves, assigned to tend to your needs, to cook your meals, to wash your clothes, to ensure that nothing distracts you from your singular vital task. You live a life of paradoxical comfort. You are served by other slaves. You eat better than some free Roman citizens. And you live in a level of physical ease you could never have imagined as a child. For 20 years, you experience the absolute pinnacle of a slave's life, a gilded cage where you have all the trappings of comfort, but none of the substance of freedom. The chains are still there. They are just wrapped in silk. Beneath the veneer of luxury, a cold, persistent fear lingers like a shadow in your sunlit room. Every comfort you enjoy, every respectful nod from the household steward, every carefully prepared meal is conditional. Your entire world, your safety, your very survival is tied to the biological function of your breasts. You are valuable only as long as you can produce the rich, life-giving milk that has made you a legend. The moment that flow falters, your value plummets. You know this with a certainty that chills you to the bone. They've seen what happens to other slaves who outlive their usefulness. The old cooks with shaky hands sent to the filthiest kitchens. The aging grooms with bad backs sold to work in the quarries. Comfort has not erased the knowledge of your disposability. It has only made the thought of losing it more terrifying. Then you start to feel it. It begins subtly. After a child is weaned, your body takes a little longer to recover. The familiar aches in your back and joints seem to settle in deeper and last longer. You feel a weariness that sleep doesn't quite erase. Your body, a finely tuned machine that has performed flawlessly for 2 decades, is beginning to show signs of strain. The steward still reviews your health, but now the notes on his wax tablet are filled with a different kind of observation, not of robust health, but of subtle decline. You try to hide it, to push through the fatigue, to ignore the new pains. You force a smile and insist you are well, but the fear in your gut grows colder. The change you've been dreading finally arrives. With the newest infant, a frail boy from a praetor's family, you notice the difference. The milk is still there, but it's thinner. It doesn't flow with the same effortless abundance it once did. The baby is slow to gain weight, his cries more frequent and demanding. The household physician is called a stern man who examines you with cold, clinical eyes. He prods, he questions, he makes you drink bitter herbal concoctions. But nothing works. The magic is gone. The milk that built your reputation, the liquid gold that secured your gilded life, is beginning to fade into a pale imitation of its former self. The matron's gaze, once full of admiration, now holds a flicker of disappointment and calculation. You can feel your status eroding with every unsatisfying feed. The foundation of your world is crumbling. For 2 decades, your body fed Rome's future. But now, the empire has no use for an empty breast. You've given your life to this household, nursing its future leaders, senators, and ladies. But after years of loyal service, time catches up. The woman who once cared for Rome's children now fades quietly into its background. The lines on your face have deepened, your hands are worn, and your back aches from decades of holding other people's babies. Your milk has long since dried up. You are no longer the valuable, prized asset you once were. You are simply old. Your usefulness as a wet nurse is over, so the household steward reassigns you. You're sent to the kitchens, to the laundry, to the endless, grinding tasks of general household work. No more soft fabrics and gentle lullabies. Now, it's the sting of lye soap on your chapped hands, the heat of the ovens, the heavy weight of water buckets carried from the courtyard well. You're scrubbing floors on your knees, the same floors where the children you raised now walk as masters. They barely recognize you, their eyes sliding past you, as if you are just another part of the furniture. The private, slightly more comfortable quarters you once had are gone. You're moved from the nursery annex into the crowded, windowless barracks where the other general laborers sleep. The air is thick with the smell of sweat and unwashed bodies. You sleep on a thin straw pallet, crammed between a dozen others. There is no privacy, no moment of peace. The soft linens and quiet solitude of your old room feel like a distant dream, a life that belonged to someone else entirely. You are no longer a specialized, valuable slave. You are just one of the anonymous many. The luxuries you once took for granted vanish overnight. The extra portions of meat, the sweet wine, the fresh fruit, the things meant to keep you healthy, and your milk rich, are a memory. Now, your meals are the same as everyone else's. A bowl of thin porridge in the morning, and a hunk of coarse bread with some watered-down wine at night. The days, which once had a rhythm dictated by a baby's needs, are now an endless stretch of labor from before dawn until long after dusk. The work is harder, the food is scarcer, and the exhaustion settles deep into your bones. Yet, you keep going. You push through the pain, the hunger, the crushing enmity. What else is there to do? In the quiet, dark moments before sleep finally takes you, you close your eyes and remember their faces. The small, trusting hands that clung to your fingers. The first smiles, the first words. You remember the boy who loved the stories you told about, the gods and the girl who would only sleep if you hummed a specific tune. You raised them. They were yours in every way that mattered, even if they were never truly yours at all. That memory is a small, flickering candle in the overwhelming darkness of your new reality. It is the only thing that keeps you from breaking. Decades pass. Your hair, once dark, is now the color of silver, thin and brittle. You are stooped and slow, your movements measured and careful. One afternoon, while sweeping the front courtyard, a litter arrives. A young, elegantly dressed woman steps out, her face etched with a mix of hope and apprehension. She speaks to the household steward, and you catch snippets of her conversation. She's looking for someone. Your eyes meet hers for a fleeting second, and a strange jolt, a flicker of recognition, passes through you. There's something in her eyes, a shade of brown, a certain shape that is profoundly, achingly familiar. The visitor explains her purpose. She is searching for her birth mother, a woman who worked as a wet nurse in this very house many years ago. She was born here, she says, and taken from her mother shortly after. Her father, a kind man who purchased her freedom, told her the story on his deathbed and gave her this one chance to find her roots. As she speaks, the steward looks over at you, a flicker of understanding in his otherwise indifferent gaze. Your breath catches in your throat. The world seems to tilt on its axis. Realization dawns, slow, and then all at once, like the sun breaking through a storm cloud. The dates she mentions, the details she provides it, all lines up. The baby girl you were forced to give up, the one whose face you've tried to conjure in your dreams for a lifetime, is standing right in front of you. You are the woman she is looking for. The broom slips from your trembling hands and clatters onto the stone courtyard. You can't speak. You can only stare, your heart pounding a frantic, painful rhythm against your ribs. She follows the steward's glance, and her eyes lock onto yours again, this time with dawning comprehension. The polite, distant expression on her face melts away, replaced by raw, uncontainable emotion. She takes a tentative step toward you, then another, until she is close enough to see the tears streaming down your wrinkled cheeks. Mother? she whispers, the word a fragile prayer. And in that one word, a lifetime of separation, of silent grief and unspoken love, comes crashing down. You collapse into her arms, and the reunion is a storm of tears, of sorrow, and of a joy so profound it feels like it could stop your heart. Your daughter, a free woman of means, does not hesitate. She negotiates with the master of the house, paying a handsome sum for your manumission. The process is swift. One day you are property, the next you are a person. For the first time in your life, you walk out of the villa's gates not as a slave on an errand, but as a free woman. The sunlight on your face feels different. The air you breathe feels lighter. You live the rest of your days not in a crowded barracks, but in a small sunlit room in your daughter's home. You are surrounded by care, by soft things, by good food. Your grandchildren climb onto your lap, and you tell them stories, the same ones you told their uncles and aunts from the great house so long ago. But this time, when they call you grandmother, the word belongs to you. After a lifetime of service, a lifetime of being owned, you finally understand what freedom feels like. It feels like peace. It feels like sunlight. It feels like home. But fate isn't finished. The bond between a mother and her child can outlast even an empire. And in the end, that bond finds its way home.